But what I know is I'm feeling just fine. My life is like a red carpet, and I'm feeling like the richest millionaire. This is my local mayor, and I'm the biggest star around here. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail, man. It's hard to get to the top without support. So I used Killmonger's image in Black Panther 2 when he was sitting on a throne like in the ancestral plains. But using Killmonger as a story is the basis for this. You got a guy who doesn't really have his parents at a young age. And from that point, from childhood, teenage years, high school, college years, graduate school, adult years of all that, countless battles, all for him to get to the quote-unquote throne, right? And sometimes we don't take into consideration how hard that could be to get somewhere without the support. Like what happens when you're the only person that you can depend on? You're the only, you're the person that's giving you your rites of passage. You're the person that's basically, you're going in a lot of situations blind until you get the experience you need to actually be effective or good or great, right? It's just you. And there are people come along the way, but they come and go. And I put that, against people who, they have the family, they have the extended family, they have the friends, they have the mentors who, help them along the way. So using a biblical reference, the story of Joseph, right? A boy sold out by his own brothers, put through a lot of horrible things. And it took him a long time and God's blessing to get to a position of success. But when you think of other people who were groomed, that doesn't happen. So when people use the phrase, or use the phrase in the past, God bless the child that's got his own, it kind of comes from knowing that, God will bless his people exceedingly more who don't come from the right side of the tracks. Who don't have the support, the father's guidance, the mother's love, and all that good stuff. So I use Killmonger as a reference because he was a great man because of what he could do, but he is a horrible king. Yeah, I get that. But for you people who are out there who might wonder why some people take so long to get to where they're at, have you ever asked where did they come from? What was their circumstance? Because maybe they got a long way for somebody who didn't have support. And for you people who have support, it might seem sometimes you get overly arrogant because you feel like you got it like that. You're like that because there was always somebody. You're always standing on the shoulders of some giant, and sometimes you take the giants for granted because you forget you got from point A to point B because of this other person or other people. So sometimes people look down on other people and it's like, I can't, like, that's it. That's all you, that's where you at. It's like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. And you can see it in your own family, man. Like, you've seen family members who became successful or became failures, but they had full support of the family. Whatever they did, whether it's parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, you know what I'm saying, and all of the resources that all those people could come together, they were poured into these type of people. Some people were good, some people were not so good. And in that same family, you would have parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents, cousins, who would just leave somebody like, hey man, you good, whatever, man. I mean, whatever. They figure it out. And the response to the family is two different ways. Some people look at their family like, man, this is my team. These are the people who helped me get where I am. And some of these people look at it like, yeah, that's my family, but they spend more time looking down on me than helping me. So wherever I'm at in life, that's me. That's not them. I don't owe them nothing. You know. And it's not necessarily a spite thing. It's not necessarily an anger thing. I'm just putting out there that sometimes we don't want to take into consideration certain people are literally a different breed because they have to figure it out, you know, on the fly. Their mistakes cost more. I've seen people, who've made a plethora of mistakes, but their support system covered it up. And I've seen people who made a plethora of mistakes and they had no support system. It did far more damage. I've seen them have to climb out of bigger holes. You get what I'm saying? So, and I've seen people with no support system excel exceedingly in ways that people with support system didn't. I would say the most successful people I've ever seen actually come from a support system. But by and large, there are more successful people who had to figure it out than it was handed to them or given to them. Maybe they just have a stronger resolve because, they understand the situation they came from. Like, you got nothing to lose. I think people who've been given more support can afford to lose more and sometimes take bigger risk. But in general, man, it's gonna be harder for a person who lacks support to get to the top. That's not an easy road to take, and not one to have. And sometimes you don't even want it bestowed upon you. But that's just my thoughts, man. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die. Try and catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna take you.